So, we have finally arrived at the finals of the CUPID Pokemon Draft League Season 3, Part 2, or Season 3.5, whatever you want to call it. So this week we would have had the third place match between Lionheart and Antikiller, but Lionheart is, he's very tired, he went on a trip, so as a result, he's decided to simply forfeit the match to Antikiller, giving Antikiller third place. A little anticlimactic, but hey, you know what? It's all good. You're not required to play these by any means. That being said, we only have the one match to cover today. It is the finals, which I have not seen yet. I am very excited to see how this goes. I'm excited to see, who wins between these two. And I'm also excited to see, namely if my win streak ends up being tied by Spirit here. If Spirit wins 2-0 here, then he officially ties my win streak in the Pokemon Draft League, and it'll be interesting to see if that narrative, ends up happening. That being said, we only have the one match to cover here, and yeah, I think I might go into a little bit more detail at the team leads here. So you'll see that Spirit has brought Ogerpon Cornerstone here. This Pokemon is quite good into quite a few Plasma Pokemon. Being that it is Grass Rock, you got the Ivy Cudgel. Ivy Cudgel destroys its Rock type with this build, or not build, with this mask. So, you're hitting Stab super effective times 4 super effective on this, like that's ever going to connect though. And you also have super effective damage on the Weavile, which is very good. You have grass coverage for these two. The Great Tusk and also the Quagsire. And that's solid. And then, the rest of the team should be able to handle this pretty well. We have a lot more offensive of a team, but we still have this really scary defensive core of Corviknight, Screamtail, and Rotom. And you also have, Roaring Moon, which we have not seen come out in the playoffs at all, I don't think, from Spirit. And yeah, Roaring Moon, I don't think it's, like, crazy into this matchup, but I don't think it's bad either. You've got, like, Acrobatics, you've got, obviously Knockoff for Tachyon Cutter over here. Acro destroys a whole family of Mega Venusaurs after a Dragon Dance, so it could be pretty strong. I do think Venusaur does give this team a lot of problems defensively, though, as namely, like, you only really have coverage moves for it outside of, like, maybe Corviknight Brave Bird, but, like, provided, Plasma can keep switches to Corviknight's Brave Bird alive, I think he should probably be doing pretty well in Game 1 here. Yeah, I haven't run any calcs or anything for this matchup, but I do think, based on what I'm looking at here, I think Plasma has keys to win, and I do think Spirit is the one who is probably in the driver's seat here, I'd say. I mean, no real electric-type move, and I wouldn't even really call it good fire-type pressure to break through this Corviknight is, rough for Plasma. I'm not sure how exactly he'll deal with the Corviknight with this lineup of 6. I also, I feel like Screamtail's just really bulky, and if it's, like, kitted to survive hits from, Iron Crown, it can. And I do think, we can also expect Ogerpon to do quite a bit of damage, provided it is able to be positioned in properly. So let's see what happens. So, Game 1 of the finals. We have the Ogerpon at lead immediately, and Corviknight is going to lead, or not Corviknight, what am I saying? Talonflame is going to lead and click U-turn. Ivy Cudgel is going to be used because, might as well, right? Grip it and rip it, right? And we get off a solid chip on this Pokemon, and we are going to just get up a layer of spikes and let our Ivy Cudgel Pokemon die. Now, honestly, I don't dislike that, because now you can bring in Roaring Moon, and Roaring Moon is going to use Knockoff, and that's going to OHKO the Iron Crown in response. Talonflame's going to come in because U-turn is very good. And yeah, Rotom's going to come in response to the Talonflame, and you're going to U-turn into Mega Venusaur, and we have finally, the Corviknight. The Corviknight is in. How are we going to deal with this? We're going to get off Leech Seeds, and yeah, that's going to start doing some chip, but it's not exactly what you want to see. Now we go into Quagsire, which is most definitely going to be unaware. It's got Rocky Helmet, and yeah, we're gonna, have Quagsire, and I'm actually fainting to the Screamtail, which is packing Grass Knot for the Quagsire. Interesting. Is this offensive Screamtail? It could be. But now we have some more switching around being done as we have a prediction, and we get the Rotom positioned in against the Talonflame on a double, but Rotom goes for Trick, and as a result, since Plasma went back into this Mega Venusaur, Trick is not going to go off. And yeah, Mega Venusaur is going to get to heal fully, but we're also going to have Leech Seeds off on the Corviknight as well as, Corviknight using Roost to get back to nearly full. Now here comes Great Tusk. U-Turn is going to do some chip damage, and Screamtail is going to come back in. And after seeing that damage from Grass Knot, Plasma decides, yeah, maybe this is offensive Screamtail. I should get out of here. And there's a Calm Mind. And there's another Calm Mind. And the Screamtail is setting up Calm Minds. And it's got stored power as well to do huge damage to this Venusaur. And we finally connect a Leech Seed, and luckily for Plasma, we get Flamethrower instead of Sword Power again, letting us get off big chip damage, but with the special defense boost from Calm Mind, it doesn't do enough damage. And this is Calm Mind 3 attacks Screamtail. And that's not something that you see every day. Plasma opts to go into the Weavile here to unleash the full force Z-move Black Bolt Eclipse. It doesn't even kill the Screamtail. We lose the Weavile to Flamethrower, and this Screamtail is running the numbers right now. And finally, we have Talonflame come in with Steel Wing for the Screamtail, and now Lopunny is just going to come in, Mega Evolve, probably click something along the lines of Fake Out and then Triple Axle, but instead we opt to go into Corviknight against the Great Tusk, which is gonna result in Corviknight fainting. And we get off, 2 close combats there with Plasma. This is suddenly playable, but you do have to be careful. You don't want to lose your Great Tusk to Overheat. But we tragically decided to lose our Great Tusk to Overheat. I guess we were expecting, some sort of switch to happen. And now we have Temper Flame being used. Or Temper Flare, I'm sorry, that's not what the move is called. And we are going to get our Choice Band knocked off. And we use Dual Wing Beat. Second hit ends up critting. We get the KO, but we are slower than this Mega Lopunny. And even if we weren't, Fake Out is a priority move. Game 1 will go to Spirit. And now it is all up to Plasma to see if he can end Spirit's streak and potentially even get the reverse 2-0 comeback to win. So, for Game 2, we have, basically, yeah, this looks like the same lineup of Pokemon, same 6 from both teams. So I do think everything I said last game still applies. I think that the Spike play from the Ogerpon was pretty interesting. Being able to get off that Spike, because Plasma's Defogger is Talonflame, question mark? Is he even running Defog on it? I'm not sure. I've noticed that a lot of people have not been running Defog in this draft league, and I wonder if Plasma maybe is following that trend. But that all being said, I do think that this is basically the same matchup as it was last game, unless, moves were changed around. So let's see if that ends up happening. I do think Plasma could have probably handled the offensive Screamtail a little bit better, but hey, it's okay. It caught him off guard, he was not prepared for it, and he unfortunately let his Iron Crown faint before he could deal with the Screamtail. So, yeah, let's just head into Game 2. This time we have lead Lopunny against Venusaur. Alright, they both decided to lead their Megas, and this is going to be a Fake Out turn. Alright, Venusaur's going to take 18%, minimal damage. And we are going to have U-turn as Spirit's going to decide to bring in Corviknight against the Venusaur. We use Giga Drain here. I would have probably gone for Leech Seed personally, but that's okay. And we're gonna just have a hard switch into Quagsire with the Rocky Helmet, getting off that Rocky Helmet chip, and U-turn is going to bring in the Cornerstone. Now we have a response. We are bringing in the Iron Treads immediately, and we are going to go for Tachyon Cutter, getting off a total of 19% into this Rotom. That's solid chip damage. Now in comes the Venusaur once again. It's going to get paralyzed. You don't really want to see that, and this is probably a turn where you click Leech Seed, but that's okay. We decide to hard switch into the Quagsire, I guess expecting Corviknight there, and now we are going to have knock off our Rocky Helmet. And we get a recover for our troubles. And now we're gonna get a Scald on the switch to Ogerpon Cornerstone, and we get the lucky Scald burn. That's a 30% chance right there. Now Ogerpon doesn't do nearly as much damage as Plasma is probably scared of, and we bring in the Venusaur. Venusaur is going to get to heal with Synthesis. Luckily, no paralysis there, and there are 3 layers of spikes up, and Plasma has to deal with 3 layers of spikes. So now we go into Great Tusk, and we use Rapid Spin, and remember that there is no Ghost type on Spirit's team, so Rapid Spin's very good. Defog is probably a little bit safer of a click compared to Rapid Spin, but hey, Spirit decided to not bring the Zoroark for this matchup, so that's probably, pretty favorable for him. Now we have a substitute come out, as, Knockoff is going to break the sub of this Iron Crown, and we're going to get off a Tachyon Cutter, and we can see that we are slower than this thing, so we decide to get out of there and go into Quagsire, after getting our chip damage. Alright, so Quagsire is in, he's going to do something, he's going to click Stealth Rocks this time. She is going to click Stealth Rocks, that's very good, and the spikes are going to come back out from the Ogerpon after rocks go up, and yeah. Spirit has decided to get up all of the layers, and Venusaur is going to not move this turn and just be paralyzed. And it's also going to be paralyzed again, which is going to let this Ogerpon stay alive, but instead it's going to use Swords Dance, and we're going to get off a Giga Drain, which will KO. I guess Spirit just wanted to sack the Ogerpon anyway, which is probably fair, to be honest. Alright, so Brave Bird's going to be used on the Venusaur here. Are we packing Hidden Power Fire? Well, we're not. That is a Leech Seed, and yeah, U-turn's gonna come out, Roaring Moon's gonna come in, and after some Stealth Rocks damage, tragically we're not gonna be able to pick up the KO on Roaring Moon as we are paralyzed yet again. And now we bring in Weavile, and that Weavile takes damage. It is not Heavy Duty Boots, it's faster than the Roaring Moon. Now this does not reveal anything, to be honest. It could be Scarf, it could be Banned. I believe that Weavile is just faster, but it's okay. Quagsire is going to come in. We want to keep our Weavile alive. Lopunny is going to pick up a KO on Quagsire with Frustration. And now Wing Beat is going to get some solid chip off on this Rotom, and another Wing Beat actually KOs here. So this is probably still banned in Talonflame, and it's looking like it's got Gale Wings as well, which is priority. But instead we are going to bring in our Great Tusk on the sack to Fake Out, because, we are slower, we don't want to lose the priority Fake Out, and it's up to Plasma to keep his sacks here, as Gale Wings is going to go crazy. We're going to use Temper Flare on the switch to Corviknight. Great prediction by Plasma. In comes Lopunny. We have another sack. We can go into any of them, to be honest. We're going to go into Weavile here, get some extra chip off, as Lopunny just goes for Frustration. And Talonflame's going to come back in. Screamtail is going to come in response to that. We are going to use Dual Wing Beat, get off some solid chip. We're going to not have access to our Gale Wings, because this Dual Wing Beat's not going to kill. And Flamethrower is going to come out, getting that damage off, huge. Talonflame's taking some damage. And now we're going to get a final Wing Beat, killing this Screamtail finally. And are we going to just let this Fake Out us? We are. We are simply going to let it happen. Why? Because, I guess Tachyon Cutter in the back wins. I mean, it's got a Psychic type attack, surely. Okay, so we're going to take some damage from Spikes. Close Combat does 55%. We survive, and Psychic Noise is going to KO in response. And in an extremely close battle, Plasma is able to hand Spirit the first loss of Spirit's season in the finals. Uh, and this is game-wise, not match-wise. So as a result, yeah, Spirit, the game win streak ends at 19, I believe. Very, very close. Very unfortunate for Spirit. But it is okay. Because we still have a tournament to win, don't we? So, game number 3. Same 6, both teams. Different order from Plasma, but it's okay. Here we go. Alright, so, this game we have, well, I have to scroll the screen up a little bit. We have a Crown lead versus Lopunny. We're going to Volt Switch out of there, and we're going to see that we are faster than the Lopunny. So that's Scarf Crown. Now Quagsire's going to come in, let the Screamtail go for rocks, and Plasma's thinking, yeah, there's no way he's on, you know, offensive again. And he just gets off a Toxic on the Screamtail, and yeah, Screamtail is now actually going to start setting up Calm Minds again, and uh-oh. Here we go again. This time we have Toxic and Leech Seed, but this does not work like it does in Gen 1. They do not stack. Stored Power is going to do over half to us. This is a solid 2-hit KO, but Plasma is prepared for Stored Power this time, uses Synthesis, heals to basically full after the Stored Power comes out, and Spirit does want to keep the Screamtail alive. Now we are going to use Synthesis to heal for 2% because we were just trying to outstall it, and yeah, that we've successfully done so. Now we're going to go into Rocky Helmet Quagsire on the U-turn from Corviknight. Ogerpon Cornerstone comes in. It's going to get off a powerful bonk, or it's going to use Horn Leech, which is also very, very good. And Sludge Bomb comes out from the Venusaur, getting nearly half of the HP from this Ogerpon off. Now we're going to go into Iron Crown, because Corviknight came in, and what do we have for this? We've got Volt Switch, okay. That's not enough damage, but it's okay. We're going to go into Quagsire. What's Quagsire going to do? It's going to get off more Rocky Helmet chip from U-turn, but it will probably faint very promptly to this Ogerpon. We really need to find a way to get a Rapid Spin-off so we can keep our Quagsire alive. And anyway, Ogerpon's going to set up Sword Stances. Iron Crown comes in, and yeah, there's a Tachyon Cutter. That's good chip, 13% on the Rotom this time. That is less damage. Very notably, and now our Quagsire is going to unfortunately meet its end to overheat there. I do think that overheat was pretty predictable, but I could be wrong. Maybe in the heat of the moment, you know, the players were thinking very, very hard. Another overheat comes out here after the, you know, Rapid Spin is used. Very interesting choice. I guess Plasma has decided that he... afterwards, has no moves that beat the Rotom, so he's just going to switch out as Rotom comes out, and in comes Corviknight in response to the Venusaur. And yeah, I mean, honestly, that's just a really, really strong read from Spirit. Instead of losing Rotom, he's actually going to be able to keep the Rotom at nearly full, and after some switching around, you know, Pain Split is going to heal this Rotom for a more billion HP, and as a result, Corviknight just comes back in, once again, on the Venusaur. And this time, Talonflame comes, and we're using Temper Flare. We're trying to get off some damage, but it's not that much damage. And now we go back into the threat. We go into the threat, and we go for close combat on the switch into Screamtail. I mean, yeah, you kind of have to go close combat there, because if you just stay in on the Rotom and you click Headlong Rush and the Rotom uses Overheat, you're looking like a fool with your pants on the ground, right? But luckily for Plasma, Venusaur can click Synthesis and end at full HP after rocks go up and Toxic Poison kills the Screamtail. And now we're at an even 5-5. Alright, so in comes Roaring Moon to try and win the game. We're going to go for Sludge Bomb. We get the Poison. Honestly, very, very lucky. Zen Headbutt's going to come out, do solid damage to the Venusaur, but not quite enough. And Venusaur is going to get off another Sludge Bomb, and now we're going to go into the Great Tusk as the Z-move comes out from this Roaring Moon. Corkscrew Crash is still going to KO, and that's going to result in a fainted Roaring Moon. And these rocks are permanent, yeah, that's gonna be 50% on this Banded Talonflame. Fake Out's gonna be used as you know, Tachyon Cutter is going to receive the damage from that. We go for Volt Switch here. You know, that makes sense. I would have probably made a little bit of a read, though. Weavile's going to come in and take the rocks damage and finish off the Ogre Pawn Cornerstone with an Ice Shard. And this is getting closer and closer. But in response, we have Lopunny, and I guess we stayed in to predict, you know, maybe Fake Out or something. But we ended up having Frustration, and that picks up the KO on the Weavile. Now we have a Volt Switch bringing in the Talonflame, which does take the damage, and Temper Flare is going to be clicked. And I really hope that this Talonflame has something. Well, we're going to go into Venusaur here. We're sacking it to Volt Switch, but it lives the Volt Switch. And Lopunny is going to come in. Venusaur has to survive, but it can't survive. U-Turn is going to bring back in the Rotom. And Talonflame, does this have any moves that beat this? It's got Dual Wing Beat, and that's not going to beat this. And in another close game, Spirit will win as Lopunny comes in, as Iron Crown comes in, taking 7% from Stealth Rocks and probably 10% from Fake Out, and a KO, as this thing will most likely be faster. Oh, but hold, we have Scarf, Iron Crown. Remember, I pointed that out turn 1. Psychic, and guess what? Fake Out. And if we were able to survive that Fake Out, Plasma would have been the champion of this season. But instead, we have Spirit, the Season 3.5 champion of the Cupid Pokemon Draft League. Anyway, that concludes Season 3.5. I hope you all enjoyed Season 3.5, and I hope to see you all for Season 4, whenever we are able to figure that out. Honestly, it was very well played. There was some good games, there were some really bad games, and there was some cringe moments. But overall, I think the experience for this one was pretty solid. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.